in the health sector where that these matters have become topical in the recent past. The purpose of calling this meeting and inviting all our cooperating partners to attend is, first of all, to send a very important and clear message from us, the government of the Republic of Zambia, that this is a matter of importance to all of us. And therefore, as one, as I mentioned earlier, diplomatic family, would like to hear and take the insights of all of us in closed session after this opening remarks around this sector and how we can all contribute towards addressing the identified challenges. Of course, as the Honorable Minister of Health would note, this affects each and every Zambian. Therefore, as we value your partnership that we have had for many, many years with all of you, we believe that we should walk together on this journey to addressing this particular challenge that we are facing. So really that's primarily the purpose of our calling everyone to meet today. We hope that we'll be able to address these matters pretty quickly so that we don't take much more of your time. And please, in that regard, accept our sincere apologies for starting the meeting a little bit later than earlier indicated. It's because of another program that has just been concluded at the State House, which took our time. So please accept our sincere apologies. So by way of opening remarks, I would also want to take the opportunity to put on record our thanks as Zambia to all of you with the role that has been played in sustaining or assisting Zambia to sustain its various programs in numerous sectors, including, of course, the health sector. And I would also then want to take the opportunity to mention that very recently there has been a lot of attention that has been paid to what has been described, or is, as a matter of fact, instances of pilferage of drugs in the health sector. And this matter is one that we would like to again place on record is of significant importance to the Republic of Zambia. The President of the Republic of Zambia himself has taken particular and keen interest in this matter. And the timeline has been such that from the initial concerns that were raised, steps were taken in consultation with some of you, our cooperating partners, to put in place a mechanism through a forensic audit of identifying where these challenges in the health sector have arisen and where they sit. Sometime in December, I believe on the 9th of December last year, His Excellency the President did in fact mention that the forensic audit was taking shape, but there had been some adjustments, again in consultation with you, some of you, our cooperating partners, to the timescales and the terms of reference. This then led to the report, the forensic report, being delayed in its issuance. But now that report is ready, and it will form the basis upon which a further action will be taken from a prosecution point of view to help mitigate the challenges that are being faced in the health sector. Of course, it is also recognized, and perhaps the Honorable Minister of Health will speak to this, that there are systemic challenges with regard to the manner in which the health sector is managed. And again, it underscores why we have called on all of you as our partners to come and perhaps share your thoughts around how these systemic challenges can best be managed so as to reduce this scourge that we have observed. So that, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, in a nutshell, is the purpose of our meeting today. We'll proceed into closed session after these opening remarks, at which we invite all of the members of the diplomatic corps and, of course, the Zambian representation to speak openly and candidly for the sake of transparency on these matters that are of crucial importance to us. We'll also want to address the question of how the diplomatic corps engages with the Zambian public going forward in terms of the clear provisions of international law, and how this can be undertaken in such a way that it will help to grow and foster the relationship between ourselves and our partners from the diplomatic corps. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, and of course recognizing senior government officials present, I recognize the Inspector General of Police and the Deputy Director of the Drug Enforcement Commission, all of these being key stakeholders in this discussion that we'll be having this morning. At this point, I'll invite the Honorable Minister of Health to also make opening remarks. Given that the structure was not earlier agreed, we'll then invite honorable members of the diplomatic corps to give, those who wish to do so, to give any remarks that they may wish in this open session, and then we'll proceed into closed session. So, Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Defense, our colleagues, the constituents, Your Excellencies. I'm Muchima, Minister of Health. I just want to add on to what the Minister of Foreign Affairs has alluded to. This government, under the leadership of President Haimbe, after taking over the office, recognized that there was a problem in the health sector. Such an extent that even the procurement aspect, the bill was drafted, presented to Parliament, but it reached some objections by members of the public who wanted it to remain under Zambia. We wanted separation of duties. And consultations are still going on to see how the procurement could be done. And we've realized that there's been a break in communication. We needed to converge the way we are today so that we can be together and speak same language. This government recognizes how much help has come to the Zambian people. Taxpayers' money, the Zambian money that has come to help the Zambian people save the people from HIV, with 1.4 million of Zambians. Of course, we appreciate what has come as aid from the working partners. And we need to account for it. The President put it very clearly that we need to be transparent and accountable. That has been his song from the word go. In line with that, he convened Dr. General, and there was a bid for forensic auditing. PwC was picked. That was on the 24th September last year. On 4th October, forensic audit was commenced. We are supposed to finish work by December, but due to certain areas unknown, it was extended. And the meeting by the President and cooperating partners were involved. And before that, we had a series of meetings at my office with some of the cooperating partners and at Home Affairs here on the way forward. Your concerns are deep, just as the concerns of the President. We didn't want to see one Panadol being lost. Anybody who steals medicines is a killer. Total killer. All of us stand to condemn such habits. What has been happening in the past should be given a stop with immediate effect. And this is what we have been doing. The government went further. We dissolved the board at Zambia last year, and some senior officers as you could read in the press, have been threatening some legal actions against us, were taken to court. Not only that, 75 cases were opened. Out of that, 25 have been convicted. The only omission is that maybe we haven't made it public to see the action. But investigations are very active, extremely active. And we are saying no sacred cow. Theft is theft. It can be money from cooperating partners or from the Zambian taxpayers. It's theft, corruption. President hates it. He wants zero tolerance to corruption. Every day he reminds us, if you extend your fingers, you are on your own. We thought maybe there's been a gap between us and our cooperating partners. Through this engagement, maybe we could align where are we and where should we be moving forward so that we speak the same language. We respect you, respect whatever has been coming from you, the Zambian people. Your President Haimbe respects cooperating partners, and we want to move together so that we save life. I wanted to put this into perspective.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And as per the earlier open invitation, I should be grateful if there will be any amongst our cooperating partners who want to make an opening remark or two. It's an open invitation. Going once. Twice. Yes, I can see Egypt.
Yes.
Please, Your Excellency.
I just wanted to say that, as I'm sure my colleagues, Egypt has a very solid and long relations with the Zambian partner, and especially in the health sector. And that during September 2023, we concluded a drug deal. It was for $24 million. And then in, I think, July 2024, a certain unpleasant instance the Zambian side revealed, and the president, the leadership, without any interference from the Egyptian side, took very decisive and appropriate measures and against this instance, and this deal is about to be successfully accomplished by the end of this year. I'm sure Your Excellency is aware about that. So we commend the Zambian government for their response, quick and decisive response without any interference from our side, and we are looking forward to extend that drug deal or renew it and continue our cooperation in that side. So I just wanted to highlight that we have a very successful cooperation in the health sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are there any other of our Excellencies, distinguished cooperating partners that may wish to make an opening statement?
Thank you, Minister. I can come in briefly as the UK is chair at the moment of the Cooperating Partners Group, and I know that in that role we're doing a lot of work to coordinate partners, to understand the challenges and to understand the government responses, and to understand what would be the appropriate support that we as cooperating partners can give. There is, as you have said, Minister, a lot of interest in the audit and the terms of reference for the audit and the audit report. So if it's possible to share any of those as soon as possible, that would be very, very welcome. And I know that cooperating partners have also offered to comment on the terms of reference for the ZAMSA contract, and we're waiting waiting to see those terms of reference. So very much share your concerns about the challenges in the health sector, very much following your lead as government in your response to the challenges in the health sector, and we stand ready to support you, including in commenting on those terms of reference and in our keenness to see the audit report so that we can make our own judgments on the back of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you to the UK for that offer of support made on behalf of the wider group of cooperating partners. Yes, Your Excellency, the US.
Honorable Ministers, thank you so much for convening us today. Certainly, many of us around the table are actively involved in supporting Zambia through the National Development Plan, and particularly in the health sector. I would note that the invitation for today's session just said a diplomatic consultation without reference to theme, health, drug commodity, theft, or anything. And so perhaps knowing the subject only at the meeting didn't provide optimal opportunity for each of us to maybe prepare and provide a more constructive provision. I would also note that many of the larger cooperating partners in the health space are the UN family, UN FPA, the Global Fund, UNDP, who also are not here. And so perhaps a more expanded and earlier time notification for a more comprehensive conversation could be available in the future. I would echo my UK colleagues' mention of the interest in the findings of the forensic audit, both in terms of the theft of both the commodities that we as cooperating partners provide, but also I understand that the audit focuses on the theft of Zambian resourced, Zambian government procured commodities as well. I commend the government and His Excellency the President for the very bold step of commissioning not just a forensic audit but outsourcing it to a globally renowned firm who has a fantastic record around the world and in Zambia. Of course, that happened 6 months after the first alarm bells were rung in April. In April, right after that initial meeting with my embassy, we did provide the Zambian government the list of the pharmacies, and by pharmacies, many of them are not licensed pharmacies, as we understand. They're small retail vendors who are selling stolen commodities. But we provided that list to the Zambian authorities, and so any information that you might be able to share today, I note the presence of the Inspector General of Police, about what law enforcement action was taken through that first, say, 9 months from being notified of the places that were selling stolen commodities, and presumably when the forensic audit was complete, would also be very appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the US. Still in the opening session, perhaps any last interventions? Before we go into closed session, at which we will address some of the concerns that have been raised, some of the observations made. Suffice to say, Your Excellency, the Ambassador from the US, that indeed, as you have indicated, collaboration has been held at the highest level through the guidance of His Excellency the President. We should be an indication to us as cooperating partners and to all stakeholders of the seriousness with which the government, the Zambian government, takes this issue of the management of the health sector and instances of pilferage that have been noted. One of the early indications that was found or made was that whilst these small pharmacies and illegal pharmacies were identified, one of the key challenges was that there was inability to separate whether they had actually pilfered these items or simply sourced them from the same sources, because there was only batch number information that was available. So part of what was done, and that was the need for the forensic effort, the forensic report to be done, the audit to be done, was to drill down to the detail as to how these particular pharmacies, these particular alleged individuals that pilfered these drugs, where the contact point was, and how they, if at all they did, how they managed to access these particular drugs. Also, I think we'll all agree that an important aspect is to identify the next layer in the criminal activity. So whilst we would have identified the small pharmacies, as Your Excellency has pointed out, through the assistance of the US government in the work that was done, there was still need to drill further to understand where the syndicate begins, the key persons involved, which is information that was not available and has only been made available through the completion of this important audit, which has just been handed over, I think about a week ago, to the law enforcement agencies. So it literally, to all intents and purposes, any functional work in relation to addressing this through the audit can only begin in earnest at this point when the final audit report has been made available. Prior to that, there was quite a bit of information that needed to be gathered and found, and of course a proper investigation to attach criminal liability to be undertaken. I think that is an important context of where we are and how we have found ourselves here. The further details will now go in closed session, because as we are aware, this is related to criminal prosecution, which cannot be done in the public eye, given the constitutional provisions that protect any accused person as innocent until proven guilty. We cannot prosecute in the court of public opinion. But nonetheless, there are important aspects which we can discuss in closed session, knowing that we are talking to our family, as I said earlier, and to representatives of the highest level from the cooperating partners that will assist ultimately in finding a lasting solution to this challenge. So I think we could pause here unless there are any further contributions, interventions, and then there's a suggestion that perhaps if the media would have 1 or 2 questions to ask us, we can use this opportunity before they go away, in keeping with our commitment to a transparent process. So I'll hand over to the Director of Programs for now.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. So, colleagues from the media, if you have any question relating to the subject that the Honorable Minister has just outlined, your name and the organization you are coming from, in the interest of time, please. Yes, please.
Good morning, ministers and also the Honorable City House. My name is Las of BMT. My question is, after discovering all these things as people come to all the places and meet here, what is the way forward to those that are dealing with the drugs without having appropriate documents, looking at this thing that they are also included in this issue?
Thank you very much. Another question so that the ministers can take maybe 2 or 3.
And it's not just us, the questions are open to the House. Yes.
Yes, please.
I'd like to find out from the Minister of Health in particular, because now even opponents have jumped on this bandwagon, and they are alleging that as a ministry, you are failing to curtail corruption in the health sector. So as much as we have seen this, even locally, and now the international people are equally seeing it, what plans are you putting in place to curtail every corruption that is going on in the health sector? What criteria are you going to use to ensure that this does not repeat itself? And maybe as a rider, I would also just like to find out from the United States of America, if at all Zambia manages to redeem itself, is there any opportunity of redemption from your side? Are we able to still take up that those $1 million that you have pretty much withheld? Is there a possibility? Thank you.
We'll have the third one. Just one question, please. Then the third and last, then we'll allow the Honourables and their Excellencies to do them.
Good morning. My name is Muchima from Newsgivers. My question goes to Ambassador Gonzalez. The Zambian government has indicated that has advised your operating partners to use diplomatic channels, even at the rate of the settles of the issues that you have. What principles you have to this, and do you ensure that you consider this diplomatic channel that the Zambian government has indicated to follow the principles that you have at the embassy?
Thank you all very much. I'll take the first question, and then the remaining two will be addressed by the specific, or the remaining ones will be addressed by the specific excellencies or honorable that has been asked to respond to that. I understand your question to mean what is the government going to do in the face of this the conclusion of the audit and the findings that have been made. I think the Honorable Minister of Health has made it very clear, and I'll reiterate, there is no sacred cow. And this is why you have seen at this particular briefing or engagement, the presence of senior law enforcement to reinforce the position that no one is immune to prosecution. A long arm of the law will reach each and every person that has been identified to have participated, whether presently or in the past, in this particular form of pilferage and corruption. So that is the short answer to your question. We are taking stringent measures to prosecute within the provisions of the law based on the clear evidence that has been gathered and any further evidence that will be gathered in the process of addressing this particular criminal scourge. I hope I'm very clear in my response. Thank you very much.
On the second question, on what measures do we take? This government is looking at options. First and foremost, ZAMSA is the buying body, distributing body. There is no segregation of duties. The bill was attempted to separate the outcry from the public. You can't allow when the same institute buy, distribute, according to accounting procedures. You can't put everything in one basket. There should be a distinction. We are making possible ways to separate those duties to ensure accountability and be transparent. Secondly, the chain, the distribution chain. Where is it? Is it a top management? What is the top management there? You have a board, top management that is Director General, and then middle management and the lower. In the chain, where is it right? It could be drivers on their own. Cannot still have to connive with those in distribution. But the audit report, forensic audit report, it's not final. It's final, yes, but we still continue. There are things like the server being destroyed, information rubbed off, requires more detailed investigations. You can call it, we have to do incomplete records. What is key is this government is serious. Doesn't start idle looking at what was great. Other people are thinking, we also cherish it the way it was. No. Everybody involved will be dealt with. Family. And that has been atoned by this government. And it started long time ago. Last year, September. There have been some changes, and we still want to effect changes. But we are looking at the best way of dealing with this matter. Some cooperating partners came in and they made some suggestions. We are also considering those suggestions on how do we incorporate them into running their affairs. And also it must be known that in the distribution, the Zambian government has got only 30% in the distribution of the medicines. 70% is done by our cooperating partners, who fund themselves. We want to run all the way from top to bottom, where this leakage. Basically, the answers are being now disclosed. Because if we did arrest without forensic audit, others would have interpreted it politically. They would be thinking of persecution. You know this country at times. Straightforward issues are misinterpreted. We want to be candid. We want to do things in a manner that this government is law and order. It's a country of laws, and we should not go outside the laws. We are very, very clear in our mind that there will be no sacred cow. If it is Muchima involved, the Minister of Health has to be arrested, suspended and arrested. He has to be answerable. Thank you.
There is an additional response from the Honorable Minister of Defense, who is acting Home Affairs.
Yes, in the first instance, I think I would like to thank the diplomatic family for coming over so that we can have a consultative meeting, which is very, very important, and it shows the love, let me say, and the concern that the diplomatic family has for the Zambian people. And it also shows that you care for transparency and accountability. I must say this government, from the very start, has been very clear on transparency and accountability in the manner we handle public affairs. And so this particular issue, although it has just come up right now, it has a history. And the government on its own, through the directive by the President of the Republic of Zambia, already knew of this sort of situation and instituted measures. This is why in terms of reference that we're talking about, that there is supposed to be a forensic audit, and all that is meant to ensure that we put a stop to this pilferage, which is equivalent to murder, actually. Because what happens is the little that is stolen means the patient that is at UTH is deprived of those medicines at right. And it constitutes in an indirect way to killing that person. And so it's a very, very serious issue, and this government is taking it very, very seriously, as can be seen with the steps that we have undertaken. But I would like to add, in terms of preventive measures that should be put in place in order to stem the pilferage that is happening. In addition to what the Minister felt and said, I think it's important that we look at our laws as well. Okay? Stealing of medicine is not ranked as high as it should be, because this is why I'm saying it's equivalent to murder. So it's an economic crime. We would like to place it at that level, so that that becomes a deterrent to those who would like to indulge themselves in pilferage of government medicines and drugs. And so very soon there will be a law, a bill, a proposed bill that will go to Parliament to classify pilferage of medicines and drugs as economic crime. What it means is that it will have a higher sentence and will be a deterrent measure. So that is an addition that is coming, and we are very, very serious about that. It will be coming very soon on the floor of Parliament, and I'm sure Parliament will definitely approve it and it will be on. That means once we classify it as such, what it means is that the prosecution will be much, much faster. Because it will be, I think, within five months or so. Yeah, 5 months the prosecution will take place. And there will be no bail, okay, as an economic crime. So no bail, and then we'll hasten the prosecution, and that should deter those who are fond of pilfering drugs and medicines. So that's an addition that I wanted to take in place, in addition to what the Minister said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe the other two questions were directed to the Ambassador of the US. You may please go ahead. Ambassador Gonzalez.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Minister. As I recall, there were two questions. The first one was, can this decision by the United States government to cut $50 million in medicines and medical supplies aid be reversed? Ultimately, that question depends on how this all plays out. In the shorter time frame, the U.S. is still undergoing a foreign assistance review for all of our non-U.S. AID assistance. And certainly the actions that the Zambian government takes in response to the issue that we're talking about will be factored into Washington's deliberation on that ongoing assistance review for multiple hundreds of millions of annual dollars of assistance, not to mention the Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact valued at $458 million. So certainly dynamics like understanding who were the 75 who have been charged and what were the charges, what were the sentences for the 25 who were sentenced. Delighted to hear the news about a new bill on increasing the punishment for theft of health commodities. Again, I wasn't prepared for what the purpose of this meeting, so my recollection though is Article 277 of the Penal Code says that one who steals government property gets a punishment of 15 years. Is medicine that is in the possession and belongs to the Zambian government considered government property, in which case would people who are stealing that now before a new bill is presented be sentenced to or charged with that? So all of those things will be factored into how Washington assesses both the foreign assistance review currently underway and then ultimately if a reversal of this would take place or something else. The second question, as I recall, related to the question of diplomatic channels of communication. I'm currently on my 11th Foreign Service assignment over the course of 25 years, so I certainly recognize and respect Article 41 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. That same provision is also embedded in the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations as well, by interest, which is why in September of 2021, the United States formally through diplomatic channels sent a letter to the then Minister of Health related to this issue to first raise the government's attention to it. After 2 years of limited action, we sent a diplomatic note through diplomatic channels to the Foreign Ministry on March 27th of 2024, asking for a meeting, which we did have on April 3rd, and then 33 other meetings that were held over the next 13 months were all done through diplomatic channels. And so I certainly stand by that commitment enshrined in the Vienna Convention to abide by those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've had a very fruitful opening session, and perhaps to round up what has been discussed at this opening session is the commitments all round from the Zambian government and from cooperative partners to ultimately address the challenges that are being faced in the health sector. I also take particular cognizance of the response from the U.S. Ambassador, Ambassador Gonzalez, His Excellency, with regard to the broader picture around the support that the U.S. government is giving to not only Zambia, but the world at large in terms of aid, assistance, and that the review process is one that is being undertaken globally, not only in relation to Zambia. I think that is an important context from the U.S., and we must take note of that. And of course, also taking cognizance of the other very important submissions that have been made during this session, including the submission from Egypt, for example, with regard to how their interaction with the Zambian government in terms of the health sector is looking positive, and how we can enhance our cooperation in that space, ultimately for the benefit of the Zambian people and the improvement of the health sector. So I'll pause there, and at this stage will kindly ask the members of the media to withdraw so that we can proceed in closed session. Thank you very much for coming through, also at show.